All right, all right. How's everybody doing? I appreciate you guys getting on this webinar. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but looks like we've got a good amount of people on. I'm excited for all of you guys that are on, and I appreciate you guys getting on this webinar. There's a new webinar platform. It's called Webinar Jam. I've heard some great things about it, so I decided to get it today, and I like it, but it's the first time that I've used it, so forgive me for the little bit of a delay, but I promise you guys that I'm going to make it up when it comes to the content that we're going to be sharing on this particular webinar. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys getting on. We're going to go ahead and get started in the next couple of minutes. Next 2 minutes, we're going to get this training started. So what I highly encourage you to do is, if you know of anybody who is a entrepreneur or somebody who's self-employed, like network marketers, real estate agents, insurance agents, door-to-door salespeople, car salespeople, anybody that wants to get motivated and go out there and learn some things that's going to help them go to the next level. Make no mistake about it. This is not a motivation seminar. However, it might motivate you, but we're going to teach some things and some principles that has taught us how to go out there, that I've learned from my mentors, how to go out there and create a 6 and even a 7-figure income inside of a 1-year period. And just to go out there and really become a serial entrepreneur. So you want to make sure that you send some last minute text out. You know that the link is not working. Tag some people on Facebook, whatever you've got to do for us to get this webinar packed out, because I promise you that the information that we're going to share on this particular webinar is going to be some powerful information, and you're going to wish you had more people on it. So with that said, a little bit about my story, ladies and gentlemen. My name is JC Rangel. I'm actually 32 years old. And 33 years old. I just turned 33. So I'm actually 33 years old. And I got introduced to the industry of network marketing when I was 18 years old. And I got to admit that the information that I learned from this industry, the network marketing industry, has been some information that has literally changed my life. And I'm not exaggerating in any way. You know, I was born in Mexico, brought to this country at age 6, raised by a single mom. She raised three boys. A single mom raised 3 boys. And I come from an area where one single mom could raise 3, 4, 5 kids, but 3, 4, 5 kids, when they become adults, can't retire one single mom. And to me, that's always been sad, and I didn't want that to be my reality. So one of my goals was always to retire my mom. At 18 years old that I graduated from high school, I wasn't voted most likely to succeed by any means, right? I was in special ed classes till the 10th grade. I didn't learn to read or write till the 4th or the 5th grade. And just like I said, wasn't voted most likely to succeed. But what I did have was an incredible desire. I wanted to figure out how I could help my mom out. I wanted to become a millionaire. I wanted to have nice things and do nice things for people. So a friend of mine introduced me and invited me to a Starbucks, introduced me to the industry of network marketing, and I learned some success principles, some entrepreneurial mindsets, okay? And just grew my confidence to where I believed that I could become a millionaire, and I believed that I could retire my mom, and I believe I could create a residual and a passive income. And so I started off as a network marketer with the aspirations to become an entrepreneur someday. And then the role switched. The way that the role switched was that now I consider myself a serial entrepreneur first when it comes to business, and a network marketer second, because I love creating new things. I love getting an idea from my mind, just something that's just an idea that's not tangible yet, okay, and making that a reality. And by helping other people and creating, I love to create, and to create companies and different streams of income. And that challenge is one of the most awesome feelings that I've ever experienced. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share some concepts, some powerful information with you guys. Hopefully this information can go ahead and benefit you in whatever business it is that you're in. Whatever business it is that you're in, I want this information to benefit you. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. So how are we going to take the business to the next level? What are some things and some principles that we've got to do to take our business, whatever business it is that you're in, to the next level? As a matter of fact, how to become a millionaire. And the information that we're going to teach on this particular webinar here, ladies and gentlemen, is information that, once again, whether you're a real estate agent, insurance agent, network marketer, door-to-door salesman, car salesman, or business owner of any type, you could take this information and go out there and make it happen. Because I honestly believe that there is a 2, 5, and 10 rule. Okay, what does that mean? in any business that you get started, whether it's a traditional business or you're self-employed or a network marketing business, whatever the case is, the first 2 years, it's kind of like survival mode. The first 2 years, you're just kind of getting it together. The first 2 years, you're just trying to figure it out. And when you're figuring it out, that's when the majority of the people that start in their entrepreneur venture fail or quit. Here's the thing. Out of most businesses that get started, you've got about, 95% of businesses fail within the first 2 years. 95. Remember, first 2 years are survival. Then within the first, if you're doing it right and you're following the right formula. Now, whether you're a real estate agent or a network marketer or a bunch of other businesses, there are formulas to go out there and be successful. There are systems to go out there and be successful. In my experience, 2 to 5 years, the first 2 years is survival mode. Then the first 5 years, however, you can go out there and gather the information, gather the momentum, gather the training and experience to go out there and make $250,000 a year at least. And this is not necessarily a fast pace. Now, I got to share my personal testimonial with you. My first 5 years, I didn't make not even close to $250,000. As a matter of fact, my first 5 years, I probably made a couple $1,000 at most. But I knew if I stick and stay, I'll get my pay. So I knew if I just kept doing it and I kept following other people that had what I wanted, I could have those things that I want. And then in the next 10 years, you can make a $1 million income, which is $1 million every single year that comes in at least. But notice that we're not talking about the microwave mentality. This is not the microwave mentality by any means. When we're talking right here, ladies and gentlemen, is we're talking about a serious run, a serious mindset. See, nowadays we live in the world of the microwave mentality where everybody wants everything fast. They want their food fast. That's why they go to fast food restaurants. They want their results fast. We live in an instant gratification world, but here's a reality. Success requires us to be persistent and pay the price. Now, it's not to say that it has to take you 10 years to make $1 million. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you've got to be willing to put in that price because success is watching you. Here's a reality. Less than 1% of the people of the world's population make $1 million a year. So in a lot of aspects, it's actually very, very disrespectful to believe that, hey, you know what? I'm going to make $1 million my first year. Now, can people do it and have some people done it? Of course. Some people have made way more than that. But we're talking about the masses. If you're an average person like myself, okay, it definitely wasn't in the first couple of years. It actually took about 10 years. It took about, actually, I started at 18 years old in my entrepreneur venture. And by 27 or 28 is when I made my first million. Okay. Yeah, 28. Exactly 10 years what it took me. Now that I'm looking at it, I did this training based on studies that I've got. But now that I look at it, it actually was 10 years later. And then, though, it started compounding. The compound effect kicks in. Okay. So I want to talk about the 5 elements that you need in order for this to work in your favor. So you need 5 elements to be in your favor. Element number 1, if you want to make $1 million, okay, you want to reach financial freedom. Element number 1, and one of the most important elements, is that you've got to be an entrepreneur. Now, can you be an employee and make $1 million? Yes, you can. But that's a lot more difficult. You've got to be an entrepreneur or at the very least self-employed, right? So for instance, I used to be in the real estate business. And being in the real estate business, it taught me a lot about leverage. I realized that the broker made a lot of money. But then I realized, hey, listen, if I'm a real estate agent, for instance, I could create systems because I saw the most successful real estate agents had these systems. They have buyer's agents, they had seller's agents, they had people that were processing their files for them, they had people that were doing the marketing for them. They got paid based on leverage. Okay, that's how with leverage is how you're able to move massive amounts of, let's say, for instance, weight with very little effort through leverage. So in leverage, one of the success principles to becoming very, very successful and making a lot of money is through leverage. So for instance, if I've got 5 people, if I'm a real estate agent and I've got 5 people that work for me, one of them focuses strictly on buyers. The other one focuses strictly on on listings, right? The other one focused strictly on and obviously it takes time to build up to this. The other one focuses strictly on marketing. And then I focus on whatever it is that I focus on. We can get a lot more done. See, when I was in the real estate business, I was a gentleman's buyer's agent. So this gentleman, I was his buyer's agent. I was a guy that he had a system where he used to do reverse marketing. He had 800 numbers that people were calling for free information. It was a pre-recorded information regarding a particular house. So more leads called. And the reason why they called is because most people don't like to get sold. So when they called this 800 number, they didn't talk to any individual. They got free information. They got the square footage of the house, how many bedrooms and bathrooms it was, and whatever the case may be, right? And nobody pitched them. But guess what? That was a system that he used. So you could have 10 people calling and he's spending zero time on them. It's a system that makes some money. But in addition to that, that system caught the lead. It caught the individual's number. Sometimes it had the name, sometimes it didn't. So when it caught the individual's numbers, this guy got at least 10 times more leads of people that were obviously in the market. Because if you're in the market, you're going to call to get more information on the house. If you're not on the market, you're not going to call to get information on the house for the most part. So my job was to call these leads, just call these leads over and over and over and over. And I had a system, okay? I would get into the office, okay? And from I would get into the office around 9 a.m. And from 9 to about 1 o'clock, I'd be following up on leads. I'd be taking appointments. I'd be doing things like that. But from 4 to 8, I would be hammering the phones, calling new prospects, calling follow-up prospects, calling. And then on weekends, I'd be showing properties. He had a system and he leveraged me in order to make money. And he was the #1 highest paid real estate agent in that particular office. And it was a Keller Williams office that had a lot of agents. The point is this, okay? Before I even get into the 5 elements, I haven't even got into them. The point is this, that he applied leverage and systems. And no wonder that the guy made about $500,000 a year. The guy was making easily $500,000 a year. Why? Because he understood success principles. He understood the concept of leverage, getting paid off of the efforts of other people. Now, I only got paid a 40% commission on every sale. See, normally agents get paid at least 50%, 60%, 70, 80, up to 90%. But they have to generate their own leads. So he saw value in me. He says, listen, I'm only going to pay you 40%, but I'm going to give you all the deals. I'm going to feed you the deals. So you could rather get paid 70 or 80% going to work for yourself and close one deal every month or one deal every 2 months, especially when you're just getting started, or you can make 40% closing 2, 3, 4 deals a month. And all you do is you focus on buyers. And I said, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So I took that, and I actually made very good money, and I didn't mind making 40%. If it was a $10,000 commission, I made $4,000. But I sold 3 properties. If it was a $30,000 commission, I made $12,000. But I sold another 2 properties on top of that. Why? Because that was a system that this guy put in place, and he paid the dues, right, through the trainings and all kinds of stuff in order for him to put that system in place. Now, in my network marketing career, because I started in network marketing at the age of 18, when the real estate market was at a boom, I got into the real estate business kind of like by accident, just kind of to give it a try. I closed my first deal. It paid me $6,000. This is before I started working with this gentleman. Then before that deal had even paid me, it was going to pay me $6,000. I put another deal in escrow that was going to pay me $10,000. So I said, I'm going to make $16,000, and I'm about 22 years old at the time or something like that. I said, I'm about to make about $16,000, and I haven't even really tried. And at the time in my network marketing business, I was only making $3,000 or $4,000 a month. So I'm thinking, I'm wasting my time because I can make a lot of money. Why? Because it was a real estate boom. I didn't realize that this was a boom. And anybody that was willing to work hard could make some significant money. And people were making some just outrageous money. And I thought it was going to last forever. So I figured I'll take my skills from network marketing, apply them to real estate, which is a phenomenal business, okay? It's not what I do now. I'm a full-time network marketer and serial entrepreneur, but I learned a lot from the real estate business. So a lot of these lessons I learned. But the point is this. Then when the real estate market crashed, I realized that me not being an expert, me not saving any money, me not really realizing the value of working my ass off. I was one of those people that ended up leaving the industry. Why? Because only the strong survive. Because there was so many people that were spoiled, and I was one of them. I was spoiled by the market. I didn't really put in the work ethic, because that's the second element we're going to talk about, is the work ethic. I didn't have the work ethic of a champion. I didn't have the work ethic of a millionaire. But that's the next element that we're going to talk about. So the first element is this: you've got to be at the right place. You've got to be an entrepreneur, or at the very least self-employed, with the opportunity to get paid leveraged income. See, if I was to get into the real estate business, I would get into the real estate business and figure out a way to get paid based on leverage, based on building teams and having other people's efforts contribute to my income. That's the only way I would do any business. Because I love the fact that I work 20 hours a week and I get paid from 6 different streams of income. All of them are 6 figures. 6 different streams of income. All 6 different streams of income are 6 figures. And I'm adding one more as we speak that launches in about 4 or 5 days. Okay. Now, I don't say that to be braggadocious, and a lot of people don't know this information. I say that to let you know the power of building leverage, of knowing the power of systems, and knowing a lot of this information on how to become a millionaire and how to make some serious income. So with that said, the second element that needs to be in your favor is your work ethic. Your work ethic. You've got to have a serious or a real work ethic and a consistent work ethic. Okay. Here's my philosophy when it comes to entrepreneurs. Okay. People that want to go out there and make it happen. People that want to go out there and make $1 million bucks. Hold on. Let me take a drink of my healthy energy drink. By the way, shout out to Longevity. They hooked me up with some very, very delicious healthy energy drinks. Anyways, number 2 is your work ethic. Okay. 40 hours per week, to me, you're a part-timer. Okay. You're not giving yourself enough time to make it. Now, you heard me right. 40 hours per week, in my eyes, this is just, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. This is just my point of view. You're not going to agree with everything I say. You might not agree with nothing I say. I'm simply doing a free training. There's people that pay me thousands of dollars to mentor them. And I actually close that down right now because there's just not enough time to mentor everybody, even though I do it in groups. But I'm simply giving you my point of view. And this is not just my point of view. This is stuff that I've learned from mentors, from deca millionaires, okay? People that have made many, many millions of dollars, and people that are making many, many millions of dollars on a monthly basis, some of them, okay? So the work ethic, 40 hours per week, in my eyes, you're a part-timer. If you're out there trying to make $1 million bucks, especially if you've never made $1 million. Because if you already made $1 million consistently, you know the necessary work that it takes. Because here's the thing. Most people are heavily influenced by what's around them. I was coming back from Boston this weekend. I went to Boston to do an event for my network marketing company. And when I was coming back, I was watching the movie The Departed. And in the movie The Departed, they talk about the first quote in the movie, like the first opening scene. There's like some riots going on, and the guy's talking about Boston. And one of the things he says is this. It was Jack Nicholson. Jack says, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. Now, why do I mention that? Because most people, for 14,000 hours, were told a couple of things. One of those things is to work 40 hours per week. Now, check this out. They were also told, go to school, get your grades, you know what I mean? And so you could graduate, go to school again, get in a bunch of debt so you could graduate and get a good high-paying job. Exactly. So that's something they were told as well. Guess what they were also told? Teachers are broke. Teachers are poor. Every single body on this webinar, okay, was told that teachers are broke. Maybe 1 or 2 of you guys don't remember a teacher saying that. But for the most part, we all heard that. The point is this, that we were all told this is what's normal. This is what's acceptable. This is how things are. And we accepted that. For instance, one of the things that you have to do is you have to have the ability to dream big and dream massive. If you don't dream big and dream massive, you're not going to achieve those massive things. The bottom line. But when it comes to 40 hours a week, people believe, well, everybody else works 40 hours a week. So I guess that's a normal. 40 hours a week is good. And then they see that people are tired after working 40 hours a week. So guess how they feel? Tired for working 40 hours a week. Because there's so much power in the mind that when we see other people, yeah, he had a long day, or maybe our parents work 40 hours a week, and our parents would get home and say, oh, you know what, I'm so tired, I just want to relax because I had a long day of work. And you know they work 8 hours a day times 5 days equals 40 hours. But in reality, 40 hours a week is not even a lot of hours. That's part-time if you want to make $1 million. Now, there's a lot of you guys here that maybe you have a job and you're building something on the side, whether it's a network marketing business or your real estate career, you're getting your real estate license or insurance license or whatever it is, or maybe you're starting your own business, okay? Guess what? It's a good thing to have your job. That way you're able to pay for your bills, because the last thing that you want is you do not want to come across needy when it comes to the second way of building your income. So let's say, for instance, you're in the real estate business and you leave your job because you want to hit it very, very hard. I get it. There's a point where you leave your job. But if you leave your job and you're hurting for money, now when you're prospecting people, now when you're dealing with clients, because there's a lot of rejection in that business, there's a lot of times you're showing people houses and then the last minute, they decide not to buy. Sometimes I remember working with some clients 3, 4, 5 months. They were qualified. Sometimes I made a mistake when I was a rookie. I didn't qualify them right, and then they didn't qualify at the end. Sometimes, however, the person was qualified and motivated. 2, 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, when we got in their house, they backed out for whatever reason. They got cold feet. Then I just wasted 3, 4, 5 months. Okay? But guess what, though? If I'm hurting for money, that comes across. And let me tell you something. Here's a little tip. A needy person is never an attractive person. Have you ever tried dating somebody that's very needy? Ladies know this. How about a needy man? Is a needy man attractive? Of course not. Gentlemen, is a needy woman attractive? No, they're not. Neither is a needy entrepreneur. Having your job has its place, and then until a certain time. So what I always tell people is this: if you have a job and you're working towards something, you work full-time on your job and part-time on your fortune. So guess what? If you, let's say, for instance, are dedicating not 8 hours a day to make somebody else rich, why wouldn't you dedicate at least half of that time to make yourself rich? Why wouldn't you dedicate at least half of that time? So if you work 9 to 5 at your job, why not work 5 to 9 on your business? 5 to 9, 5 to 10, 5 to 11, 5 to 12. It's funny, when I met my girlfriend, she actually joined one of my businesses. And I remember she went to an event. And then after the event, the person that invited her took her to a Starbucks for me to meet with her, for me to show her the business and get her questions answered. So as soon as I was done with them, I had another person walk into the Starbucks, had another meeting. She mentioned to me yesterday, you literally lived at a Starbucks. I would get up at 7 in the morning, have some oatmeal with fruit, shower, or vice versa, shower, right, get ready. Right as I was going to leave, I would have some oatmeal with fruit and some orange juice. That was my breakfast, okay? And then I would leave, and I would go to meetings, and I made sure that I either have breakfast and lunch with a prospect. And then I was training people, and then I wouldn't get home till 12, 1, 2 in the morning. And I did that literally 7 days a week. Now, I'm not telling you to work that crazy, because your body will literally give out, because that's what happened to me. 3 weeks into it, my body gave out. I got extremely, extremely sick. But the point is this: I knew, and it was my must, to make $100,000 in 1 month by my 9th month. I wanted my 9th month to be a month where I made $100,000 in that month. So my must was huge. Now here's the thing: I didn't achieve that goal. My first year with that company, I made $319,000. But by my 18th month, I made $83,000. So hey, I missed it a little bit, but how many people can agree that, hey, you know what? By the 18th month, a year and a half, you made $83,000 in a month. That's not too shabby, right? But guess what? The goal that I had was such an outrageous goal that I knew that the action needed for doing that was some very, very serious action. So the point is that the work ethic was there. Not only is the work ethic there, but the consistency is there. Remember, and by the way, if you're not taking notes, I recommend you take notes. It's an apple a day that keeps the doctor away, not 7 apples on Sunday. We've all heard the phrase, An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Our parents told us that, so we, eat healthy and, focus on, obviously not getting sick and things like that. So they told us an apple a day keeps the doctor away, not 7 apples on Sunday. Same thing with your work ethic. Most people, here's the thing. A lot of people want to do something. Very few people actually take action to do it. Out of the people that actually take action to doing something and they get motivated, they're simply temporarily motivated. It's funny, man. I love working with young guys and girls, but one of the thing about them is that they just don't have the heart sometimes. And here's the thing. There's merit to working with young people. There's merit to working with older people. But one of the things about younger people, especially the millennials that I found, is that they have such an instant gratification mindset. It is outrageous. And if they go for 6 months to a year hard, they think that they deserve success. Some of them are now out selling cars. Some of them that work with me and quit are now selling cars, hating life. Some of them are, doing whatever it is that they were doing before they started working. And it's like, I would tell them, hey, here's the deal. You've got to pay the price, and you've got to go out there and hit this very, very serious. Take it serious, not for a couple of months or a couple of years even. You got to take it very, very serious. So 40 hours per week is a part-timer. 60 hours per week, you're a full-timer. 60 hours per week. But then 80 hours per week, you're an all-the-timer. Sam Walton was interviewed, and they asked him, how many hours should somebody work that wants to be successful? He says, any 12 hours in the day is good enough. Meaning, it could be from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But he said, any 12 hours in a day is good, at least. That's Sam Walton, a billionaire. But guess what? Most people think, because your mind is a crazy thing. If you think, well, I had a long day's work, 8 hours, because that's what a long day's work in society is. So your mind thinks, had a long day's work, so I must be tired. I must be deserving of resting, of watching TV. And then guess what they do? They turn on the news, CNN, which, by the way, stands for constant negative news. Then they watch stuff, a tragedy, some sad things that make them feel sad. It makes them feel sad, right? And angry, stuff that they've got no control over. Then that creates their emotions. That's why they're sad and they're angry, right? And they've got these negative emotions. And then what they don't understand, because most people don't read books, so they don't know this stuff, that their emotions will control their environment. The way you feel will control what ultimately ends up happening in your life. If you feel angry and bitter and sad, more things that make you angry, bitter, and sad are going to continue to happen. That's why one of the tips that we always give people, and there's a whole nother training that I'm not going to get into, but one of the tips that we get into people, I'll get into it briefly, is to feel happy all the time. One of the number one goals to becoming successful is to feel happy all the time. But guess what? When you are creating, when you are a creator, you are the happiest. When you are a creator, you are the happiest. And guess who creates jobs and opportunities? Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs create jobs and opportunities. I have a son. I'm super proud of my son. I look at my mom and I'm like, hey, see, look at my son. Isn't he crazy? I'm like, I got this glow about me. Like, I created that, right? Same thing with business. Creators are happy. So they get in this mood. But guess what most people do? What the masses do. They go out there, they work 8 hours, and they believe that they're tired, and they sit down and watch TV, whether it's the news or something else. And the news is the only place where they'll say, good evening. Then they proceed to tell you why it's not so good, right? But guess what? Rich people have a big library, while poor people have a big screen TV on credit. Even on credit. Okay, so when we're talking about work ethic, we're talking about you got to work your ass off. You got to go out there and you got to go after it. You got to be relentless. You got to go out there and work even to the point where people are going to criticize you. People will criticize you. I remember people telling me, JC, but you've got to have some balance in your life. So you're right. But I gotta have some disbalance, and then eventually I'm gonna have some balance, and then I'm gonna have some disbalance again. Let me tell you why. Because I'm gonna go all out massive action where you have a conversation with your spouse and you say, baby, I love you, but over the next X amount of time, I'm gonna be dedicating some serious time to this business. Between work and between this business, I'm gonna be dedicating some serious time. I'm not gonna have as much time as I do now, but this is gonna be for us. That's why I always encourage people. Get your spouse involved in whatever it is that you're involved, or at least get her to see what it is you're doing. Get her to see your vision. That way she doesn't, he or she doesn't give you a hard time about it, because they believe in the vision that you're doing. They know what you're doing, even if they're not actively helping you. But if they believe in the vision you're doing and why you're doing it, then they won't mess with you so much, right? Because a lot of times that's what happens. That's one of the things, and you're going to notice that in this training, we're going to hit on that hard a little bit later, okay? So number 2 is the personal growth. Number 3 is the personal growth speed. It's not just about working hard. It's not about that. It's also about working, figuring things out, and growing as a person or as a professional. Jim Rohn says, success is something you attract by the person you become. So number 3, okay, the third element is your personal growth speed. So let's talk about the personal growth speed. How do you become a professional, for instance? 10,000 hours. When somebody has 10,000 hours of experience doing a certain thing, they're considered a professional. Here's the thing. If you go out there and you read simply 5 books on a particular subject, you already know more than 99% of people out there will ever know about that particular subject. So one of the things that I encourage people to do is become a professional in your field. Now, it sounds easier said than done, but in reality, it isn't as complicated as people believe it to be. But the personal growth, because here's the thing, regardless what business you're in, notice we mentioned business. We didn't say nonprofit. Where does money grow? Money grows in other people's pockets. So if money grows in other people's pockets, should you be good at attracting people? And the answer is, of course, yes. Now, would it help for you to be a charismatic person? Of course, the answer is yes. Because no matter what you're selling, the first thing that people are buying is you. If they buy you, meaning if they like you, then guess what? They're going to buy from you. If they like you, then guess what? They're going to buy from you. I want you guys to see me a little bit just hanging out in my house. So if they like you, guess what? They're more likely to buy from you. So when you do the personal development, when you're reading, we always tell people at the very least, if you're part-time, read 10 pages of a good book per day. Let me take off my hat. It makes me look darker. You guys can't see my face real good. So if you read 10 pages of a good book every single day at the very least. Why? Because the personal development that we are doing, okay, grows us and helps us shape us, and it creates that leadership skills. It grows our confidence, right? It grows our sales ability, our people skills, to be more charismatic, okay? Simple little things like that that make a big difference when you're doing it. I literally have met people that when I met them, I realized, man, I would totally do any business with this person, right? Of course, within reason, right? I would do business with this person. Why? Because they were so charismatic. They were so charming. They were so confident, right? And then when you ask them questions about their business, guess what? They did the personal development. When it comes to the business, they put the effort into becoming a professional. They knew what they were talking about. So it made you feel secure. It makes you feel secure that, you know what? This is the right person for me to be in business with. So you've got to do the personal development. So when we're talking about this, if you're averaging, let's say, for instance, 12 books a year, okay, I consider that part-time. If you read 12 books a year, 1 book a month, you're considered part-time. 24 books a year, you're considered a full-timer. And if you're reading 4 books per month or 56 books per year, now you're considered an all-the-timer. The average CEO reads 56 books per year. That's a valuable note to take. Let me tell you why that's so valuable. One of the reasons why that's so valuable. There's people in this audio, on this webinar, that are listening to this, that maybe do personal development here and there. They listen to a little bit of audios here and there, maybe read a book here and there. And they're like, I'm reading, But when they hear things like 12 books is a part-timer, in my opinion, 24 books is a full-timer, and 56 books a year is a all-the-timer, and the average CEO reads 56 books per year, then that puts things into perspective for people. They realize, wow, what I'm doing is not even close. So maybe that'll bump them up to 12 books a year at least. Maybe that'll bump them up to 15, 20, 24 books a year, or whatever the case is. Because remember, rich people educate themselves. Poor people entertain themselves. You want to be the guy or girl that is constantly working on yourself. You're sharpening your axe. You're sharpening your axe. Now, one of the advice that I give people, entrepreneurs, when you're building your business, don't go out there and do your personal development. Go and take an hour during the day to read a book when you could be talking to prospects. It's kind of like when we're talking about the work ethic. We're talking about work ethic, serious work ethic. Doesn't mean that because you were in the office for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours that you were working. How much serious work were you putting in? Meaning if you're a salesperson, you are on the phone. You are meeting with clients. You are driving to an appointment. You are asking for the sale. Okay? You're training new distributors. Whatever the case is, real work. Don't confuse activity with productivity. There's a huge difference. That's why I like to have a sheet of things that I've got to do today to be a successful day. And it's a long list. But then I'm checking them off or I'm crossing them out. Checking them off and I'm crossing them out. Checking them off and I'm crossing them out. And my goal is to cross off the hardest things, the ones that I really don't want to do, the ones that make me the most uncomfortable. I want to get those things done, if possible, before noon. If I get those done before 12 noon, everything else is downhill. Everything else is easy to do. But guess what? Guess what taught me that? The books that I was reading. I started reading a lot more books, listening to a lot more audios and things like that. Number 4, the fourth element that needs to be in your favor is, this is key. A lot of people don't talk about this too often. And I know that I've got a lot of people here from my team, right, that work with me. And maybe 1 or 2 of you guys heard me talk about this. How many start and stops do you have? Meaning distractions. How many start and stops do you have? That's one of the biggest problems in any entrepreneur's life. The amount of start and stops that they've got. Watch this. Part-timers typically have 2 to 4 setbacks per year. And in addition to that, it takes them a long time to get back from it all. It takes them a long time to get back at it, if at all. So think about that. Part-timers have 2 to 4 setbacks per year on average. And it takes them a long time to get back at it, if at all. Because once people get out of the rhythm, it's very hard to come back in. That's why it is very important that's why they say 90% of success is just showing up. Same thing applies with the gym. Same thing applies with a lot of areas. Just show up. Now check this out. That's part-timers. Full-timers have 1 distraction per year. Okay? And all the timers, now 1 distraction or setback per year is what I mean. Full-timers have 1 distraction or / setback per year. And all the timer has a major setback every 5 to 10 years. Now, here's the difference. That setbacks happen to everybody. However, what we're really talking about here is the way that these people, these different people, the good to great to elite is a full-timer. Good to great to elite. That the full-timer, when he sees setbacks that to a part-timer seem like a setback, they're not a setback to all the timer, to the great, to the elite entrepreneurs. See, what's a setback to the JC from 10 years ago isn't a setback to me now. I remember 10 years ago, if I had an argument with my girlfriend, that was a setback to me. If I broke up with a girlfriend, that was a setback to me. This day and age, it'd be more of a motivation. Okay? So it's not to say that a full-timer or the elite entrepreneur doesn't have setbacks that often. It just doesn't feel like setbacks. They just don't even notice them like they used to notice them. And when it does happen to them, they get back on the horse significantly faster than the other ones. They don't sit down and sob and complain and have a pity party and feel sorry for themselves. That leads me to the victim mentality. The victim mentality is comprised of three things. They blame, they complain, and then they justify. They blame other people's circumstances. They complain about everything, and then they justify why they're not where they're at. Oh, it's because I didn't get the support. It's because the company isn't good enough. It's because my leader isn't good enough. It's because my boss. It's because of the economy. It's because of my spouse. They justify it, and they complain and they blame. Guess what the elite guy does? They, just like Nike, they just do it. And they take 100% responsibility. That's the answer. What separates the elite from everybody else? They take 100% responsibility for everything that happens in their life, good or bad. Bottom line, that's it. That's it. No excuse. I'll give you an example. We're starting a new business, a student loan forgiveness company. We should be launched by this week or the following week. Just waiting on a couple things to be set up in the office. Everything is set up. But I understand success principles, and I'll get into those in a little bit. So anyways, as we were building it, we were looking for a couple of investors. The first approach wasn't working. So we simply modified the approach a little bit. Then the approach worked like a charm, okay? The money was raised significantly faster than we thought. And why though? Because instead of seeing that the first way wasn't working and complaining about it and blaming the circumstances and blaming other people and whatever, and then justifying, saying like, oh, you know what, maybe it's not meant to be, and throwing in the towel. Instead of that, we took 100% responsibility and changed our approach a little bit, and we went after it with the same enthusiasm that we did in the beginning. Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. I'm gonna say that again. Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So how many start and stops do you have? I see this all the time. I saw a guy today on Facebook posted about joining my particular company or another company. And this guy, sharp guy, man. I mean, I think this guy could be so incredibly successful if he applied himself, if he wasn't bullshitting, if he took his head out of his ass, right? I'm going to just, I shoot from the hip. Point is this. I see him post and he asks a question. Should I join this company or this company? They both have great leaders, blah, 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 blah. And I said, bro, if you don't know the answer to that question, you should join. And I mentioned the other company. Why? Because I don't want to run with undecisive people. I want to run with leaders that make a decision. And it's such a vast difference in leadership and in ethics between those two companies that I say, if it's not clear to you, then I don't even want you here. I literally spend more time getting people out of my teams in different companies, right, in different businesses. I literally spend more time cutting people than I do adding people. I already got my team to add the people. I literally, because I understand that in order to grow, we got to cut sometimes. I cut the fat off my steak to make my steak more edible. If there's a snake bite somewhere, you got to suck the poison out, cut the infected part in order to heal the body, right? If there's a cancer on the leg, sometimes you got to cut the leg to heal the body. Sports teams cut negative players that don't play as a team in order for the overall health of the team. We have to cut in order to grow. But here's the thing, too many sales organizations, here's a mistake that they make. They make a mistake of, oh, they just look at the overall number. I'd rather run with two runners, two absolute champions, than with 10 wannabes. And I can identify a wannabe from a mile away. And when this particular guy, he's joined the company back and forth, it's very undecisive. It's like, dude, I gave up on the guy. I don't think you're going to be successful. Can you be successful? Yes, you can. But would I bet on you? No, I wouldn't. I'm a little bit of a gambling man. I'm pretty good at it. Now, is it possible that he can? Yes, it is. But I wouldn't bet on it. Based on the track record, I wouldn't bet on it. So, number 5. The number 5 element is the number of industries. Part-timers have a new industry. They change their industry every 2 years. Full-timers change their industry every 5 to 10 years. And all the timers are in one industry for 20 to 40 years or more. One industry. They focus. They plant their flag and they go. They evolve with the times in their industry, but they focus. Imagine how successful you can be if you did real estate for 2 years, and you got into insurance for 2 years, and you got into network marketing for 2 years, and you got into car sales for 2 years. You're never giving yourself enough time to mature in that industry, to become an expert in that industry. You've got to pay your dues. But guess what? When things don't go the way certain people want them to go, they look for the easy way out. They blame, they justify, and they complain. To finish it off, I want to talk about the intangibles. What are some of the intangibles? Number one, you want to make $1 million, it's got to be your must, not simply your want or your desire. Now, you have to have a strong desire, but a lot of people desire things, but it's not their must to really make it happen. It's like the story that Eric Thomas got famous with, which, by the way, my network marketing uplines from 2001 told me that story. He got it from the network marketing industry. Point is this. He talks about a guy that was that goes up to this wise man, and he goes to the wise man and says, wise man, I want to know the key to success. And this wise man says, meet me at the beach or at the lake at 5 in the morning. So this guy shows up, dressed, suited, and booted. This is the way Eric Thomas tells the story. And he says, wise man, I'm here for you to tell me the secret of success. And he's dressed in a suit. And the wise man just walks by him and passes him and then keeps walking. And this guy's like, what's wrong with this guy? Did he forget me? And he's following this wise man. The wise man keeps walking, goes to the lake. And the wise man gets in the lake. So then this young guy is like, hey, wise man, you told me to come here so you could tell me the key to success. What's the key to success? I'd like to know. The wise man says nothing, but waves him over to get into the lake. So this guy's like, man, I came here to get some information, not to take a swim. But anyways, he goes in the lake anyways. And then the wise man, as this guy is about to ask him again, the wise man grabs him from the back of the neck, pulls him down under the water. Okay, and he's holding him under the water, holding him, till this guy's about to drown. The wise man picks him back up, and this guy's gasping for air. And then the wise man says, the day that you want to be successful as bad as you wanted air, that's the day you'll be successful. Because how bad did that guy want air at that point? Air was a must in order to survive. See, it's got to be your must. Let me share something with you. Rich kids don't become boxers or kickboxers. But let's talk about boxing. Look at Manny Pacquiao when he was a kid. Why do I mention that? Because it takes a certain amount of grit, certain amount of discipline and punishment that a rich kid doesn't have to go there. Now, see, my son's going to be a rich kid. I'm going to teach him the sports. I'm going to allow him to do whatever sport he likes. Hopefully he likes martial arts, right? But he could do whatever he wants. But the point is this. You look at all the great champions. They all came from very, very humble beginnings for the most part. Why? Because that's their way out. To them, it was their must to get out of their situation, and they had no other way to do it, or at least they thought they had no other way to do it. It was their must. So if it's just a want, a simple desire, you're never going to become a millionaire. You're not going to make $1 million. You're kidding yourself. If you're not willing to put effort and energy consistently and persistently over an extended period of time outside of your job and be way more than temporarily motivated, it's just a want. It's just a simple desire. It's got to be your must. The next intangible is focus. Focus is an acronym. It says follow one course until successful. You've got to be focused. The next one you can't teach: ambition and desire. Burning desire and ambition. You can't teach that. If your ambition and you have a burning desire big enough, it will be a must for you to achieve those things that you want to achieve. The next one is positioning. You've got to position yourself right. You wouldn't get into selling 8-track CDs now, would you? Because no matter how good you are and how big your desire is and how big your must is, you're not gonna make that money. You're not gonna make $1 million if your positioning isn't right. There's a saying in business: the T in timing is way more important than the T in talent. The T in timing is significantly more important than the T in talent. Okay. Also, marriage. Your partner has to be the right one. This might hurt some people. but I'm going to tell it like it is. If you pick the wrong one that doesn't support you, man, one of my mentors, who's still a mentor to me to this day, taught me this. If you don't pick the right one, it is going to be very, very difficult, almost impossible for you to become a millionaire if you don't have the right spouse by your side supporting you and understanding you and having your back. It's going to be hard. So if you're single and you're dating somebody that's just not even on the same, mindset, you're in a fortunate position. Because if you're single and you're just starting to date somebody that's not really there with you like that, personally, if you ask me, and you're not asking me, but if you ask me, I'd say find somebody else, no matter how much you like the person. Or hey, if it's just gonna be like a temporary thing, cool, go do your thing. This is just some advice I'm gonna give you because I've been through it. And then my mentors taught me this. Then I realized, and I didn't listen the first time. The next thing is you have to have a mentor. This is one of the intangibles. Find a mentor. Listen to the mentor. Find somebody that already has what you want and is willing to teach you what they know. And your mentor is going to sometimes tell you to do things that don't make sense to you when they're telling you, do them anyways. Sometimes you're going to go out there and they're going to tell you to do things and you're going to go out there and get your ass handed to you. They're going to tell you to work your ass off. You're going to be tired. You're going to face a gang of rejection and rejection and rejection. And if you're going to be one of the ones that are successful, you're going to show up every day. People are going to cancel meetings on you. People are going to lie to you. People are going to give you rejection. People are not going to believe in you. There's going to be family members. You're going to have dream stealers cleverly disguised as friends and family members. They're going to tell you, you're kidding yourself. Get a real job. Quit wasting your time. I can't believe you would do something like that. I can't believe you would put your kids through something like that. I can't believe you would risk, putting your kids through something like that. I can't, boom, 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 boom. And you're going to sometimes ask, what in the world is going on? Did I make the right decision? And you're going to get your ass handed to you. And then when you come back, the only thing you should ask your mentor is, do you need me to do it again? And the answer is always yes. So don't freaking ask that question. Just do it. Because if we could have the things that we really want, being the people that we are right now, we'd already have them. If you could have the things that you wanted, being the person that you are, you'd already have it. So when we talk about personal development, it's about reading the books, listening to the audios, but guess what it's about? Doing the business. One of the best forms of personal development is actually getting out there and doing the damn deal. If you're a real estate agent, going out there and knocking on doors and getting rejection and setting up listing appointments and finding buyers and pre-qualifying them, showing them houses, right? Calling escrow companies, calling other agents, checking for availability on homes, all these things that real estate agents do. You've got to do that. That's the world that we live in. There's going to be favoritism. That's a part of the business. But guess what? That's a price for success. And you got to do it every day. And you got to wake up every day. Here's another intangible. You got to wake up every day with a positive attitude no matter what. Your attitude will ultimately determine your altitude. No matter what, you have a positive damn attitude. When I used to knock on doors, I used to work for a door knocking company. I used to sell stuff door to door when I was 18 years old. We knocked on doors from 12 to 8 p.m. But I got up at 7 a.m., left my house at 8 a.m., got to the office in Burbank, from Linwood to Burbank at 9 a.m. From 9 a.m. to about 11:30, we'd be practice pitching, getting each other motivated. At 8:30, we would leave the office, hit the field from 12 to 3. 3 to 3:30, we'd have lunch. 3:30 to 8 o'clock, we'd continue to sell. And we made $10 for every sale that we made, right? And here's what would happen. By 6 o'clock, we were already programmed to, if we didn't make no sales by 6 o'clock, meaning we were knocking on doors for 5.5 hours because we took a 30-minute break for lunch, we had a great attitude just like we did at 12 o'clock. And we had a shirt and tie and a suit on. Now, granted, we didn't have the jacket on hot days, but even if it was pouring rain, we wore a poncho, a plastic poncho, and we were knocking on doors. And people thought we were crazy. People would look at us and not even open the door because they thought they're so crazy. This guy's probably trying to steal. They're probably going to rob us right now. But we were positioned and we were trained. And our mindset was, you knock on doors no matter what. And here was a mindset. Every day that you miss hitting the field, add 3 weeks to your time on the field. Think about it. Every day, because the goal was to go out there and eventually get your own office. And when you get your own office, now you have people knocking on doors. You're not knocking on doors anymore. Now you get paid a commission, $6 commission on every sale made in your office. My office, the owner of my office her name is Lindsay. I won't mention her last name. She's a friend of mine on Facebook, but her name is Lindsay. She was 25 years old. Her office did 1,000 sales a week, and she made $6 per sale at 25 years old. And she never knocked on doors anymore. I don't know about you, but that's pretty damn, this is in 2001. That's pretty damn good income. Over about $300,000 a year at 25 years old. And it was passive leveraged income. And then she every time she promoted somebody to get their own office, she made a percentage of every sale in that office as well. So they would tell us, every day you miss hitting the field, add another 3 weeks to your time on the field. So guess what? We didn't want to hit the field. And the same thing applies to this business. Every day that you don't show up, you're adding a couple of weeks on the field, a couple of weeks not being successful. Every week you take off, you're taking off 3 or 4 months. You're adding 3 or 4 months to your time to reaching your goals. That's why 90% of success is showing up every day with a positive attitude every day. Now, let's talk about another intangible, having a chip on your shoulder to a certain degree. Now, you don't want to have a chip on your shoulder where people don't like you, like, oh, that guy's got, but a chip on your shoulder, so to speak, to where you're going to make it happen because someone will say, I told you so. Either your dream stealers and the people that don't believe in you are going to say, I told you so, or your results are going to say, I told you so. Till this day, I have a chip on my shoulder. I got something to prove to myself. I'm going to get it the way they said I couldn't get it. I'm going to get what they said I couldn't get. Not only am I going to get what they said I couldn't get, I'm going to get it the way they told me I couldn't get it. I got a chip on my shoulder. See, that drives me. I'm not going to let these dream stealers be right. And they're not. They already know it. They already know that I way surpassed what they thought I was going to surpass. Some of them I made way more money than they're ever going to make in their life. Some of them will go and work 40 hours a week for somebody else, and they'll never make what I've already made. And I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I had a chip on my shoulders because I have family members that will call me a wetback. Family members that will call me a wetback. I'm damn proud that I am. Guess what? I'm legal in this country, but damn right, that's my title. And you know what? I say it proudly. I got a chip on my shoulder. And I'm going to be mad because I understand that massive success is the best revenge. So you could either use that chip on your shoulder to hold you back, or you could use that chip on your shoulder to go out there and be relentless and use it as fuel. You got to be willing to take risks. That's another intangible. That willing to take risks is that audaciousness. Okay, I'm going to talk about that right now. Okay. Also, the value you are constantly adding, the value that you're constantly adding. Are you constantly adding value by what? By the personal development that you're working on, that you're doing. Okay. Association. You are the combined average of the 5 people that you spend the majority of your time with. You are the combined average of the 5 people that you spend the majority of your time with. The combined average. So if you hang out with 5 bums, you'll be number 6. You hang out with 5 broke people, you're going to be number 6. And guess what? You deserve it. We are all deserving of what we've got right now. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody sugarcoat this shit for you. Your bank account is what it is, and my bank account is what it is because of me. Yours is what it is because of you. Look into your bank account. If you don't like that, you're the reason. Not the economy, not the president, not your boss. You chose that job. You chose those decisions. You chose who you hung out with. You chose the books that you read or you didn't read. So did I. I made these choices too. I've been broke, busted, and disgusted. And the only person I got angry at was myself because I knew I am the reason why. When I used to compete in martial arts, since a kid and as a young adult, I used to compete at some very high levels. Guess what? When I lost, when I got my nose broken, when I fractured my ankle, I knew it's because of me. It's not because of anybody else. It's because of me. I didn't train hard enough. Going into that fight, I knew I wasn't prepared. I knew I slacked off. I kept telling myself, I'll train harder tomorrow. I'll train harder tomorrow. Then I kicked myself in the ass, and guess what? I deserved every bit of that ass kicking. I deserve every bit of it. Because it was my decision or lack of good decisions that got me there. My association. Where are you going to be in the next couple of years? The people you hang out with and the books you read are going to drastically determine that. Okay, and then luck and timing. Let me tell you something. Luck is greatly connected to your work ethic. The harder you work, the luckier you get. The harder you work, the luckier you get. You could create your own luck. You could write your own check. Now, I'm not going to give you, because that's a long-ass training, but you want me to prove to you that you could create your own luck? Here's how I'm going to prove it to you. Go pick up some of those books. Go pick up The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The secrets are in those. Then some of you, let me tell you something. About 1 to 2% of you will actually go and pick up those books, according to the statistics. Now, you guys that have been on here for well, I don't know how long we've been on, maybe almost an hour. Yeah, about an hour. That goes to show some determination on your end. Congratulations. Because there's people that logged on that have already logged off. But guess what? Luck and timing, you could create your own luck. And then timing, we talked about that earlier. Let me give you some definitions. There's a couple things you got to be. Audacious, you've got to be bold, you've got to be a little crazy, and you've got to be a maniac when it comes to your massive, relentless, all-out, massive action work ethic. Audacious definition, showing willingness to take surprisingly bold risks. You've got to be audacious. The definition of audacious in the dictionary is showing willingness to take surprisingly bold risks. You're good. Listen, man, if people think you're crazy for doing what it is that you're doing, you're probably doing the right thing. Because most people are programmed to not believe that being an entrepreneur is the way to go. But if it wasn't for an entrepreneur, those same people wouldn't have food to put on the table. They wouldn't be able to pay their light bill. They wouldn't be able to pay their mortgage or their rent if it wasn't for an entrepreneur. But they'll criticize you. You know why? Because they've been tamed. That's why you're being trained. That's why you attend trainings. So you could get away from that 14,000 hours of negative programming. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job so you can work for somebody else. Send somebody else's kids to college. Let me tell you something. If your name is not on top of the building that you go to work to every day, you are building somebody else's dream. Why not build your dream? Listen, man, I'm going to give you guys some raw stuff. If you're the kind of man that goes to work, right? They just go to work and work for somebody else. If you're the kind of man that goes to work and then afterwards you get home and you just watch TV, and if you're the man that just keeps living in the world of someday I'm not going to be broke. Someday I'm going to take my family on vacation. Someday I'm going to get out of debt. Someday until they run out of days. If you're that kind of man, I'm not calling you a loser. But my friend, you are definitely not a winner. I'm nobody to call you a loser, and I'm not calling you that. But that ain't a winner. I don't know, but my son, actually I do know. My son, I owe it to my son to be the best version of me, to work on myself. As iron sharpens iron, so does man sharpen man, and that's what we're doing right now. So guess what? That 21-year-old boy, I'm going to be his hero when he gets older. Not some damn athlete on TV. Not a lot of these actors that are into this occult stuff that's no good. The society that we live in, man, you got to be stronger than ever before. You got to be more awake than ever before. Guess what? I'm going to be my son's hero. You know why? Because I'm relentless. You know why? Because I was cut from a different cloth than a bunch of these other people. I'm cut from a different cloth, man. And guess what? You are too. Just the fact that you're listening and you took the time, an hour out of your day, to listen to this information right now while other people made excuses that they're too tired, that they had a long day of work. Guess what? You're cut from a different cloth. That's why you deserve to win. But you can't just do it right now. You can't just be temporarily motivated. That's what most people do. You're just a part of the bunch if that's what you're doing. Bold, a person, action, or idea showing ability to take risks, confident and courageous. That's the definition of bold. A person, action, or idea showing ability to take risks, confident and courageous. And you also got to be a little bit crazy. See, the way I'm talking right now, if some people saw me through my window, they think that guy's crazy. The next one is a maniac. I look like a maniac doing this. I'm talking with my hands like an Italian. My hands are waving all over the place, right? Shout out to my Italian buddies, right? I'm waving my hands all over the place. I look crazy like a maniac. Guess what? You got to be a little bit crazy. And let me tell you something. You got to be a little bit crazy to be an entrepreneur. You got to be a little bit crazy in people's eyes to get something, get a job or a business that you only get paid for the effort that you put in. But as Jim Rohn taught us, profits are better than wages. Profits are better than wages. And one of the last things I'll finish off with is this. Okay? Who have you been listening to? Most of us listen to our parents. Our parents didn't have the financial freedom that we wanted. Most of us also listen to our teachers, but our teachers don't have the lifestyle or freedom that we wanted. So if you ask yourself the question, who have I been listening to? Ask yourself the question also, would you trade places with them? Would you want their lifestyle? And in most cases, people's answer is going to be, no, I wouldn't. So why in the world would you listen to them? It's really common sense. But here's the deal. Common sense is not common practice. And common sense isn't too common. It's common sense. So who have you been listening to? And one last note I'll give you that's going to help you in building this is recruit your weakness. That's leverage. Recruit your weakness. OPM. Successful people use other people's money. OPI, other people's ideas. And then OPE, other people's efforts. I only build a business with leverage. I get paid off of other people's efforts. If I don't know a particular business and I want to get into that business, I will recruit the people that know that particular business. I just recruited my weakness because I'm a great recruiter. And that's one thing I will tell you to do. Become a great recruiter, because all of you, if you've been in a relationship, you're a recruiter and you're a salesperson. So guess what? If you're already a recruiter and a salesperson, you might as well be a good one. With that said, I hope you guys found value in today's training. I'm going to do more of these. And today was I just put some things together. I just put some notes together. Didn't even do a PowerPoint, had no time, was very busy. But I was going to make it happen anyways because I committed to doing this training before I even knew what we were going to train on. So I just put some notes together. So I hope you guys got value in that. It took me 15 minutes to put these notes together to give this information to you. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys as always. My name is JC Rangel, and I'll see you guys at the top or from the top, my friends. Take care.